Welcome to 250 Chat, and we're just about to begin with today's topic, which is: would you break up with a friend? What would be the reason, and what are some of the red flags for you in a friendship?
People always become friends with people because of what they offer, what they can offer you. So let me give you an example. People will be like, maybe you can offer me a ride. So this guy, a ride to the rave. So let me be this guy's friend because hey, I know my rides are sorted for the next few months. So I don't know. Maybe you guys can add on that. But I feel as if friends, it begins in a way of maybe someone can take advantage, or someone can benefit from you. Then they see something else in you, and then they decide maybe, okay, this guy is probably nice. Maybe he has nice eyelashes.
So what? So wait, would that be a reason for you to now break up with a person? Would that be a reason if you realize that somebody was taking advantage of you and stuff like that?
Definitely.
Okay.
Do you know the song I don't want no scrubs?
What?
No love from me. Hanging on the passenger side. Anyway, yeah, so definitely for me, that's a red flag. That's a red flag because I don't need anyone who's leeching on me. Like, I'm also hustling. I'm also in this game to just try and make a name for myself and do my own things. So if I feel as if maybe you're trying to be my friend because maybe I walk around with girls, or I'm just giving an example, or maybe I know the coolest joints, maybe I enter the clubs without paying, small things. There's small things that people really want to associate with you. So I really try to be very careful. I don't know,
but then I guess that's where the question comes in. How does each person define friendship? Because if to you that person was never a friend, then it doesn't really matter if you don't speak to that person again, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. But then I also think that personally, the older I grow, the less friends I can make. So I actually think I have a lot of acquaintances. I call them friends. And so it means that for me, a breakup is very easy. It means that, the mutual interest we had done. And I think that to hold, some people will be like, no, if you're my friend, I'm like, if I didn't know you when I was a teenager, or if I didn't know you when I had nothing, or like there was nothing to me, then I don't call you a friend, right? And that's what for me I always think. So for me, interest, I feel like it's both sides. Yes, they have interest in you, and you also have interests, right? So, but the friends that I would call is the ones from when we're still young, ones who know you when you're doing your stupid things, when you're
Yeah. So does that mean that you can't make new friends who you've just met recently, even for a good reason, when they don't really know you from your lowest point or when you had nothing, but you hit it off from a good start?
I mean, I would have them, but I would not get hurt if anything was to happen, right? It's like, yeah, we'll get to know each other, but then there will not be any, I'm not too attached, I would say. It's like, I'm not too attached. I'm like, well, if I've lived all these years without you, it can still break off. I hope it doesn't, but then still, like, but most important, loyalty. If you know there are some guys who know in real life they're messed up, but at least you can trust them with your life. Those are the friends that for me I like more. But others, emotional support, yes. But I think we all need some crazy friends just to make life more entertaining.
But sometimes you also find that the new friendships that you have made become more important, or they become very valuable than the ones that you've had since you were teenagers. Like for me, the red flag would be if you're not someone who understands, someone who wants. There are people who are controlling in nature. They want to control you, or they want certain things certain way. Or if I cannot come to you and vent and tell you without you offering solutions, and yeah. So I've noticed that even when I grow up, yes, I lose most friends than when I was younger. But there are also friendships that I've made when I'm an adult that are more valuable, that I would run to, than the ones that were teenagers, that if we broke up, it would break my heart. So to me, I have different stages, different categories of friends. I have acquaintances, I have social friends, I have close friends. So the ones I was emphasizing of were mostly close friends. The ones I know I can call, I can hang out at any time.
So let me ask you, what are the kind of things that you look for, maybe in a friendship? What are the kind of things that you look for? Just to understand, what are those things that you maybe say, okay, this guy maybe is a good, or lady is a good friend to have, and to maybe he's a guy who can have my back. When I mean guy, I mean
anyone.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Personally, I look for emotional support, someone I can talk to, because in other words, I'm very independent, very. I wouldn't rely on people for material things, but emotional support, someone who's there that I can call at any time, and someone I can have a really great time with, who won't judge me or think of me in a certain way.
I mean, for me, I'm very different from you. I think the friends that I have from way back, from when I was younger or a teenager, I would say the people I'm still friends with now are not even 5. But I've met other friendships along the way, and they have become stronger with time, and they have become more important to me than the people I knew when I was younger, right? So I don't think, for me, what I look for in a friend, there's that the emotional support, being able to know that the relation I have with this person is stronger than just, okay, we're gonna hang out, we're gonna talk, or we're gonna drink, or we're gonna make jokes, and then that's the end of it. No, it has to be someone that you can go to if you have a problem, someone that might not even have the best advice really, but is gonna lend you their ear and is gonna listen. I know I'm that kind of person with my friends. I go all out for them. So man, if I consider you a friend, show up, my G, be there for me. For me, the red flags would be, one is what you said. There are friendships that you might think are friendships, but later on you do realize that this person always comes to you only when they need you for something, and that's a definite no. It has to be both ways, But the other thing is, if I feel like I cannot trust you with the most intimate parts of myself, then I don't really see any value in that kind of friendship. So that would be a definite red flag for me. If I know that I'm telling you this today in confidence, and tomorrow I hear that somebody else knows about it, then that's a problem. If I come to you with a problem or with something that is heavy on my heart, and you make fun of it, or you ignore it, that's a red flag for me, because I know that I am not that kind of person. If I'm friends with you and if you matter to me, I'm gonna give you all my time, and I'm gonna listen. So if that can be reciprocated, then nah.
So I don't really think that these guys are really going in deep the way I want them to go in deep, because I feel as if friendship is something very valuable, and for me, I think for friendship, you need to somehow have something that you're gaining from that. Be it, maybe this person is helping you out with something else, or at least there has to be some sort of benefit for me. That's when it makes sense. That's when friendship makes sense. But these guys, I think they're just shy and just, anyway, me, I speak my truth.
So I have a question though, because for me, I don't know if anybody else has this. For me, a friendship also follows stages as the same as if you're going to date someone. So there's a time I first meet you. There's a vibe to, I feel this person's vibe. They feel my vibe. Okay, we can hang. Then there's that, it's not a trial period, but sort of is, where we're hanging out. We're trying to get a feel for each other and stuff. So it's not like, all of a sudden you're my friend. No, for me, it's like, it goes in stages, And then before I even get to the point where I would bare my heart to you and you probably do something shitty, I would have seen signs that this person probably cannot even be a friend. So from then on, I'd cut you off. I'm sorry. Like, I'm that person. I will not wait till we go deep and then you show me this other side to you. No. So listen, guys, I'm one of those African women that does a lot of stuff that African women should not do. And so, I've done a lot of My point is, if you're gonna judge me, if you're gonna say, "Oh, Jada, don't do this, don't do that, don't live your life this way," we cannot be friends. So yeah. So I don't know if this happens for anybody else, or you guys just jump into friendships with people, like get deep with people immediately.
I would say for me, first of all, you know how they say you have to earn trust? Personally, I think I do it the other way around. So I give you my trust until you give me a reason not to give you any trust. Because otherwise, it's like there's so many things that would make, when you look from the outside, that can make you not trust a person, right? So for example, I know that, Bruce was saying things like, if I tell you things and then you laugh at it, me, I'm like, please laugh. I sometimes need those friends who I can go to and they're like, my G, it's not that deep, right? And then, but it's also, I think that you need different kind of friends. I actually think that sometimes you need those friends who in 1,000 years, this guy, I cannot trust them with anything. I can't trust them with my money. I can't trust them with whatever. But they're fun to be around.
Yeah.
Like when I feel like I want to have fun, I will go to them. Yeah. And then you need those friends who are very emotionally intelligent. And one advice I always say, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, it's not a guy. I think that when it comes to guys, like you can't tell. I feel like I always say men are emotionally constipated. Because it's like, it's true. Like, how many times have you seen a man who's in touch with their emotions? So you come like a deep, there was a time I was like in a round and I saw girls talking and they all go deep and they told, this is how I feel. And I was like, this is weird. But if guys are seated together and then a guy's like, guys, this is how I feel. You're like, my G, stop playing this game. So it's like, let's drink, man up. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like, let's drink to it. It's like, let's do something else, right? But it's like knowing that you have different friends who fulfill different things and not putting all your eggs in one basket, right? It's like, give everyone a chance and knowing that this person, when it comes to money, I know if I give it to them, it will never come back, right? But I know still that there's something that they bring in my life that I needed sometime. So one of the things I would say for me is I think you need all sorts of friends. You need friends who are crazy. You need friends who you can't even present to your parents. You need friends who you go to church with. So you need all sorts of friends. So there's no need to break up with any friend. You just continue.
So I wanted to respond to what you're saying. So for me, as you're saying, you said something about you won't wait for that time. Like you'll see the signs before. Sometimes people are very good at hiding who they are. Like you can't really figure it out until maybe you're at a point where you're expecting something from them or you need them in a certain situation or whatever, and then that's when you see that red flag. Yeah. So sometimes it's not always clear until it's time for it to come out.
So when you actually get that proof, would you give yourself reason to still be friends with that person?
No, of course not. Yeah, of course not. Yeah, but it's not. I wanted to say it's not so clear. And then another thing. I like about what you said, like they're really different kind of friends. Yeah, I actually have one of my friends. Okay, she's a friend. But I usually like to. No, she won't, because she doesn't know this. But I usually like to hang out with her when I'm feeling very low, like something is going on and not feeling so well. I'm like the kind of person I need to be around is this person. So. Some of these friendships can be deep or they cannot be deep. They don't even know that. But I'll hit them up, I go over, I'll hang out or whatever. Because, No, they don't.
Is it a guy or a chick?
It's a chick. Ah. Yeah, and then there's some other friends you just, different, but you want to have a good time with. And then there are others who you can rely on them for emotional support. Like you can hit them up. Yeah. And then other friends who are like the plug. I need spare parts of, I don't know what they're like, I got you, I know where this can come from. I know a guy who knows a guy. Like, yeah. What you give me is what I'm going to take. The energy that I'm getting from somebody is the one I'm definitely going to reciprocate.
Yeah. So, again, it means that we have different definitions of friendship. For me, a person who's a plug may not necessarily is usually not my friend. They're just somebody that I have good vibes with, we hang out, but they're not my friend in my own books. That's not what I call a friend. So I guess we have the different definitions.
Are all your friends close friends?
The people I call friends are close friends. Other people are just, hey, hi, what's up? We're doing this, I go there. It doesn't mean that we're that close or we're friends in that way. In my own head, I don't consider them.
I think I have a question for you. So let me ask you. Let's say we've met, maybe. Mm-hmm. I'd like to think we're friends. Well,
do you think it's a friend?
Tell me now, because I need to know. So, there are those friends who you grew up with. Maybe you live in the same estate. Maybe you guys are neighbors. Your parents know your parents know their parents, and you guys have literally grown up. And then there are those friends who you meet maybe in college, and I mean, you guys are cool, but you're friends. You would say you're friends. So one thing I wanted to ask is friendship. Do you put like a timeline on it? Like the longer maybe you've been friends with a person, you feel as if maybe this guy is a greater friend rather than the guy who you've just met, but your bond is real and you feel as if I can tell this guy anything. How do you think about
I think that question is great for me because I moved around as a kid, so I don't have any friends from childhood or anything of this sort. The people that tried, but they just didn't meet that guy. I'm like, nah, you're not my friend. But my closest two friends are friends I met in college. Until date, I will do anything for those girls. Like it's ridiculous because I don't even like being friends with girls. But these ladies, I will go to, like, you don't even want to know the stories of shit that I've done for these girls. So these girls I consider friends because our friendship was tested, and I could see these people are people that if it goes down today, so I think for me that's what friendship means. Everybody else is just like, okay, maybe if we get to that point, yeah. So maybe Muga, if we get to that point, yeah, I don't
another question that
I want to answer
Yes,
your question.
yes.
I also don't think it's just the how long you've known someone, also the quality of the relationship, like the value you get from that person. It might be someone you met yesterday or someone you've known for
so
all
when
your
you mean
life.
value, give me a value like what? Like does he give you money? Does he?
No, it's not even that. It's so I found that in my life. I don't know if it's because of my experiences. I'm always the one who is coming to people's help, giving advice, being the psychologist, being the this, being the that. And sometimes it can be exhausting because everybody else around you comes to you for that thing because they know that you're the support. But I'm like, guys, you guys know that I need support too. I have issues. So I think that's the value. It has to be a two-way thing. Yeah. So for me, the red flags would be things like you don't accept me for who I am because, I have very weird choices in my life. So if you don't accept me for who I am, that's your problem. You cannot be friends with me.
Now that's another red flag for me. Like if I constantly have to check up on you, because again, if you're a friend, you're going to check up on this person, even if you haven't spoken in a year. They cross your mind once, you want to catch up with them. So if I find myself constantly, I'm the one who's constantly doing that, that's a red flag for me. And also there are other friends who come to you, like they're expecting you to maybe like support them or whatever. They have so many expectations of you and they have no idea how you are doing or if you need the same support from them. So that's another red flag for me.
So just now to dive back into the main topic of what are the red flags in a relationship. So I want each one of us to actually say what are your red flags. I'll start. Me, my friend, I have many friends, different personalities, different. One thing that I maybe do not like is, and I think it's just trauma, it's because I believe there are those friends who they'll be like, hey, Muga, man, I'm in a bit of a fix. Can you send me 30K? I'm like, for me, I feel okay. You can give that guy 30K, but they always have like the best. Like my ATM is just like, it's just that it's crashed. We were together last week when my wallet was stolen. So come on, just send me 30K. I'll sort you out by the end of the week, or sometimes even by the end of the day. I just need to sort out something. Get your phone. You call me. I receive a message. I'm like, hey, I need some help. Please send me 20,000. Hey, hell no. Delete and block. That's not a friend. So I fell victim of that a couple of times, and I realized that actually lending money is a red flag. When someone asks you for money, sometimes for me it's a red flag. Maybe it's just because of the trauma that I have, because I used to be like that. I used to somehow lend my friends money and then they would now take advantage and all that. So I feel as if that is something that would be a red flag for me. Another thing for me right now, maybe because now I think because of now I'm in the working circle, anyone who just looks for me during the weekend and you just don't give a hell, we'll bleep that out. So anyone who does not give a
This is going to
tit
be very interesting.
about your personal life, they just, hey, so Friday, it's Friday, man. So where are we going? Where are we? We'll also bleep that. Don't worry.
Weekend friends.
Yeah. So weekend friends, guys who just want to just have a good time and actually just have fun instead of actually having substance. Man, okay, so I have this 200k. What do you think? Where can we invest it? Where can we let's say anywhere, what can we do with this money? Or something else. Even just, how is your mental health? How have you been? How is your wife? How are your kids? Not that I have any kids, but hey. Future ones. How are your future kids?
Red flags for me, I would say first of all is loyalty. I don't know why the older I grow, I love friends who are loyal, and the way that I test it is, I know as a person you'll always be in trouble and do all of that, but I respect people who come to the background and ask you, they will tell you, hey, you've messed up, you've done this, it's not right, but when you're in public, they will defend you. I think that I respect more than anything else, right? I respect people who whatever happens, this is my person, this is my guy. They will never betray you in anything. And I think it's hard to find here. In Kigali, everyone throws you under the bus for a smallest thing. For the smallest thing, like anything, they will just throw you under the bus. So I respect that. And then, and then the other thing too that I really love, and just like you were saying about how you're always the person giving, I love people who know how to reciprocate. I think it's weird sometimes because you're like, what is this? Right there. It's like, what is this? It's like, so when somebody is like, yo, calls you up and you're not going to pick up or whatever, and then they will still follow up and say, hey, but how are you doing? Like, how are you really doing? And I think that I respect. I respect that a lot. So for me, it's like loyalty, and then also somebody who goes out of their way. Not like, I texted you once like 3 months ago and you didn't respond, therefore I'm like, come on now. Yeah.
For me, what I would add to that is being able to recognize when you're wrong. And I think that's very important in a relationship, friendship relationship, or a relationship. It's very hard to translate this, but in Kinyarwanda, haziwa nazida komana mehem. Like, if you're friends with someone, it's bound to happen that at one point you're gonna clash,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
But it's very important to know and to realize when you're wrong and admit when you're wrong. Now, that's a thing that some people are not able to do. Be man enough to recognize when you've clashed, that you have made a mistake. If I'm the one who did that, I'll come to you and I'll say sorry. So I expect you to do the same. They will sit back and realize that they've done you wrong, but they'll find a gazillion ways to go around it and not actually come to your face and say, hey, listen, I admit I was not in the right here and I'm sorry for it. So for me, it's very important to be able to do that. And something I know I don't do very well, but I try to learn to do that, to teach myself to do that. So if I'm friends with you, but it happens once, twice, 3 times, and I realize that you don't have that humility to be able to admit, hey, I'm wrong, but I'd like us to move forward, then that's a very big red flag for me. The other thing, I've already talked about it. There's a difference between being a friend and being an acquaintance. I have a lot of those, and this is probably going to put me in trouble. Some people might think they're friends. So, I know a lot of people, to be honest, and I talk to a lot of people and I relate to a lot of people, but the people I call friends are very, very few. I like my friends to be wild. I want to party with you. I want to talk. I want to make jokes. I want to be goofy and everything. But also, man, I want you to be able to be someone I can relate to, someone I can come to. If I have issues, someone I know will listen, someone I know will give advice when they can to. For me, it comes again to that thing of being able to know that I can confide in a person or relate to a person on a very intimate level. I wouldn't mind if I couldn't come to someone that I hang out with regularly and say, oh, listen, I'm going through this and this at work, or this kind of thing happened to me. If I know that we don't have that kind of relationship, so that would be a problem for me. But if I think or I believe that you are that kind of friend to me and I come to you for support, and that support I cannot receive it. Not because maybe you're going through your own problems, and I have to also realize that people have their own things they're dealing with, and they will not always reciprocate that. But if it's consistent, that I cannot rely to you, then that's also a red flag for me.
I'd say, like I said, the first thing, if I cannot get emotional support from you, if you cannot allow me to be myself fully and not be judgmental, and also if I'm always the one who's always giving, who's always there for you, who's always calling or going out of my way. I realize that people show love in different ways. So maybe I call and you visit, and we express love in different ways. But if I'm the one who's always making that step, for me, that's a red flag.
I think you covered both of my red flags, but so for me, the first one is, so I have very radical views and opinions and choices in my life that may differ from other people's. I admit that, but I feel like as a friend, I don't judge people's choices. I may not understand, so I will seek to understand. I will ask questions, but it doesn't mean that I make you do what I want you to do. Likewise, I do not want I cannot be friends with someone who always judges my decisions. I say, I don't want to be married. Why don't you want to be married? And then we go out, she doesn't want to be married, right? Things people do that I can't be friends with someone. That's a huge red flag for me. Accept my choices. You may not understand it, but just kind of move on and love me for me as opposed to what I choose to do with my life. And then the second one is not having enough emotional intelligence to be like, wait, Jadida is always coming through for me for this, for that. I've never actually checked in with her to find out, what's going on, Or somebody that I call and then I'm so sad, and maybe, and they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, oh yeah, my dog died. And they're like, why, you're crying because of a dog? You don't get to tell me how to feel my pain. Like, my pain is my pain. So just, even if it's shocking for you, just respect that moment. And then maybe later I'll be like, but that thing was a dog, So yeah, so those are my two red flags.
Sorry?
There's something you said about respecting people's choices, and it brought another question for me. In friendships, how do you draw a line between having different views or different opinions about certain things, and to what extent do you allow yourself or those things to affect the kind of relationship you have with a person? Does it make sense as a question?
Yeah, it does. And I feel like this is where even in your interactions with a person, these things even determine whether you become friends with a person or not. So I even watch out for these things. Like,
what if people change?
People do change, actually.
Their politics change, their beliefs.
What
if because you grow, and then sometimes you grow apart, or you grow differently in opinions.
So again, so things can shock me. My dad always says something that it's like my watch what he says. You allowed your initial reaction to everything. You allowed, because things will shock you. But after that initial reaction, take a step back and think through it and realize that while this thing has happened, it may not necessarily affect you. It may not be about you. So I respect another person's choices. It's just, if it doesn't work for me, then I'll be honest with you and say, look, this doesn't work for me. I don't think this can go on. But yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, I think for me, in terms of whether or not you should be friends, I think you should be friends with people who have different opinions from you. Yeah, I think you should. Yeah. As like, if you are, it makes it better because it humanizes people who have the other view. So for me, I have friends who have crazy views, and then I might get crazy, but I'm like, well, I also have crazy views.
Even if they are crazy, like, would you be friends with a pedophile?
No, see, again, but the problem is with this kind of conversation, people go to extremes, right? It's like, that's the same thing. It's like, anyways, let me not give an example, put me in trouble. But it's like people go to extremes. But part of it is also understanding that end of it all, they're human beings. If you want to be in relationship with a person who have the same views, just be in relationship with your mirror, or be in relationship with yourself.
But so
it's like you have to have relationships with people who are different from you. And the other thing too is, like, we have an illusion nowadays that the only way to change people's views is through, calling them out, canceling, all of that. That has never changed anyone. It has never changed anything. So part of it is relationships change people. And understanding that the person is not their opinion. I don't believe that. I think all of us are flawed. All of us have issues. And part of it is, like, we have to figure out a way, even in your friendships, to say, hey, this person might hold this view, but that view does not make them. They're far more complex than than I actually want.
It doesn't also that have to do with your own value system as a human being.
Oh, totally.
So that
Totally.
also, there's a limit to everybody.
Right.
Some people can
Yeah.
expand
Yeah.
it and say everybody else. But for some people, it's like, no, if this person is somebody who will cheat on his wife, I don't want to be friends with that person. Stuff like that. Like, yeah.
And then I like what you said about like it from that point for me, it's more about understanding why this person has a different view as opposed to not agreeing with you. I'd like to know why you feel that way or why you think that way, or so it also helps you understand the other person more than putting forward that they need to understand you, because what you're seeking is them to understand you, but you haven't really listened to where they're coming from. Come to the end of the interesting conversations. You can catch us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at 250 Chat. So we'll see you guys on the next show.